Rwanda's most popular event on the calendar, Kwita Izina, was finally held at the foothills of the Volcanoes National Park on the 2nd of September. After 2 years of being held virtually, the annual gorilla naming ceremony brought together several influential names in conservation, athletics, business, and philanthropy. A strategic way of promoting the conservation of endangered mountain gorillas and of ultimately attracting more tourists to the country's most famous rainforest, Kwita Izina, a centuries-old tradition, has been held annually for the last 18 years. In this episode of Doing Business from Rwanda, we look at the significance of Kwita Izina and how Rwanda's tourism is slowly but surely recovering from the pandemic. You will be with me, Julius Bisbongo. The ceremony is inspired by the ancient Rwandan tradition of naming a baby soon after its birth. Imitating the custom, Kwita Izina entails the naming of infant gorillas born the previous year, while also serving as government of Rwanda's strategy to promote wildlife conservation since 2005. Held at the foothills of the Volcanoes National Park in the northern province of Rwanda after 2 virtual editions, this year, 20 baby gorillas and 1 newly formed family were given unique and inspiring names.
Today, we are pleased that we are able to meet again in person for the celebration of Kwita Izina after 2 virtual editions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The act of naming baby gorillas is a demonstration of Rwanda's commitment to conservation and the role this plays in our country's socio-economic transformation. The 20 baby gorillas and 1 newly formed gorilla family we have named today, and the hundreds we have named before them over the last 18 years are the result of decades of conservation efforts.
In a name is a distinct identity that enables one to live a unique life. Ladies and gentlemen, our mountain gorillas are part of this unique heritage. Found only in 3 countries in the world, seeing them is a unique bucket list experience for many from all over the world. And yet, unfortunately, in 1996, IUCN had classified these creatures as critically endangered, facing a threat of extinction. The good news, however, is that in 2018, mountain gorillas were reclassified from critically endangered to endangered.
Indeed, this is a great milestone to celebrate, and we are happy to have you here with us to mark this occasion. Rwanda protects its natural heritage by investing in people. That is why our tourism revenue sharing scheme is such an important part of our conservation strategy. By investing in the community that surrounds our national parks, we are building a strong constituency for conservation that will span generations.
Rwanda's conservation work has attracted the support of the world. This year alone, renowned philanthropists and businessmen from across the world joined the country's Kwita Izina. Even Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, named a baby gorilla.
I had the great pleasure of visiting Rwanda during the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in June this year, where I heard about the remarkable conservation work that Rwanda has carried out and continues to carry out to safeguard wildlife for generations to come. Rwanda is embarking on an ambitious project to expand Africa's oldest national park, Volcanoes National Park. This once-in-a-generation initiative will expand the park by approximately 23%. This expansion of the Volcanoes National Park will, I hope, ensure a bright future for the mountain gorillas that call it home. The baby I'll be naming is a male baby gorilla, born on the 29th of April 2022 from the Muhozai family to its mother Agasaro. The name I give him is Ubguzuzanwe, which means harmony, since the restoration of harmony and balance between nature, people and planet is the most critical issue facing humanity that we must tackle with extreme urgency. Otherwise, these and other magnificent creatures and their precious habitats will be lost forever.
Rwanda's conservation story is unique. The turnaround of mountain gorilla population from near extinction to well over 1,000 individuals within a few decades, reclassifying the species from critically endangered to just endangered, is testament to the nation's successful conservation efforts.
Our conservation partners, we appreciate the work that you did with us to ensure gorillas were safe during the COVID-19 pandemic and that tourism continued within this context. I am very pleased to report that all your efforts paid off. The first half of 2022 already indicated that we had reached 80% of tourism revenues pre-pandemic, while revenues of national parks, including the Volcanoes National Park, have slightly exceeded pre-pandemic levels. Recovery is underway. I want to thank the communities living around the national parks for the exemplary support in conservation. Our conservation work aims at improving their lives too. Without the support of our communities, there simply would be no effective conservation.
By implementing a revenue sharing scheme that allocates 10% of total revenues from the national parks into developmental programs such as building schools and hospitals, has further fueled the nation's appetite for wildlife conservation, without which none of this would be possible.
And we are actually celebrating the commitment by the government of Rwanda to continuing supporting our conservation efforts. So we have actually come from far. 60 years ago, 50 years ago, the story was different. Mountain gorilla population was in a decline. And today, naming new babies, we celebrate the change, not only in terms of the growing population of the mountain gorillas, but also what that change means to people.
This event is a realization by the people of Rwanda how the importance of mountain gorillas, just the mobilization of understanding why this is important, why conservation matters to them, and why this is not about wildlife. You see here in Rwanda, I haven't heard anyone saying, oh, conservation is like animals more than people. They get it. They know that the relationship we create with wildlife is about us surviving here. Wildlife doesn't need us. Human species need wildlife. This is so important, and this kind of events like Kwita Izina I've seen here, it has brought a mobilization and a level of understanding why this matters.
As we celebrate the growth, the recovery, the habitat of the mountain gorillas, 60 years ago, we have lost over 50% of this park. And as the mountain gorilla population come back, as we benefit from them, we need to give back to this park. And because we know that if we do it, we will benefit more. And so we are working actually on the plans, and we are sure that the kind of benefit, the governance in Rwanda are the two pillars which will ensure that whatever we do to expand the Volcanoes National Park will be for the benefit of the people.
It's the 18th time Rwanda is naming mountain gorillas, which means the population is growing. The home is not growing. So the urgent thing right now is to expand the park. But we need to do it smartly, and I'm working with the government of Rwanda in partnership in this program with RDB. We are doing it with a people-centered approach in expanding the park. The people have to lead, they have to benefit, they have to own, and they have to get involved in activities that benefit them while we create a new home for the mountain gorillas.
As Rwanda works towards expanding mountain gorilla habitats, the country is not oblivious to the bigger picture, which is to diversify revenue-adding tourism offerings. Many investors are already seeing Rwanda as a destination to implement big projects that will drive the tourism sector in the future.
We came here, we saw that the country was ready, so we thought, why not try? Why not try? This is also, conservation is everything. It's the wildlife, it's the people, it's the community. So bringing sports in Africa and showing that we are ready also to do this kind of thing, I think is a great opportunity to also promote our own athletes and to show the world. It's a great opportunity to show that there is great tourism here, not only for gorillas, but for many other things to do, like sport events.
The statistics show an increase now, where we were supposed to ready the 2021 revenues. I also see it with the bookings. Today, we receive many confirmations, even the new markets, like Southern America, which actually is an emerging market. Most of our clients come from the US, UK, German, Canada, Australia, but now we're seeing new markets coming up. So that's a very good sign that we are doing very well as a country and recovering very well.
We feel safe. We know that we can come here. You know that we're very well welcomed, and whatever idea we bring here is really followed up. We're really accompanied. We're really welcomed, and that's very important. And it gives us even more ideas to come and do here.
Before the pandemic, we were doing very well. Rwanda was generally doing very well. Our business was doing very well. But when the pandemic hit us, business totally shut. We had to lay off a few staff. But since the beginning of 2022, we've brought back all the staff, and we've set ourselves with new products to diversify, so that actually we don't rely on the mountain gorillas, which is the umbrella species for Rwanda.
As Rwanda celebrates these beautiful species, it also hopes they will contribute significantly to the growth of the country's tourism sector. That's all we had for today's episode of Doing Business in Rwanda. For more, you can follow us on Twitter at CNBC Africa or follow me directly at Julio Bismongo. See you next time.